improvements need to be subtle, like steering a ship, like 1 degree this way doesn't look like much on the ship, but it looks like a lot at the destination. We can make 1%, 5%, 10% kind of changes that will completely alter our life. Hello, and welcome back to the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast. This is our first episode in 2024. Yay! And if you have been hanging around since the beginning of the podcast, you know that in January, I tend to go on a little tangent I like to call Fuck New Year's Resolutions. But this year, I'm doing something a little bit differently. Normally, I go in on 4 specific types of resolutions, which are productivity resolutions, weight loss resolutions, financial resolutions, and creative resolutions. And I tell you why the normal day-to-day average Joe version of these resolutions suck and how and why you can do them better. Because, I've done that. I'm going to do something new. So what I'm doing this year is it's all going to be focused on anti-diet resolutions because that is my biggest theme this year. I am getting back into a healthy movement routine. I miss exercising, but I'm now 5 years into eating disorder recovery, and I still haven't found the balance between exercising so that my body feels good and getting stronger versus that deep, dark place where I do not want to relapse to, which is that exercise is a punishing means to an end, that I exercise in order to change myself, as opposed to exercising to maintain myself. So we are going to go all in on body for this month. Now, it's not just going to be like the same episode 4 times. Each one is going to have something a bit different. And to start off, this one's actually going to be a little bit more generalized. So the theme of this episode is, why do we try to reinvent ourselves every year? This new year, new me mentality. Like, what if you're pretty good already? What if you're doing enough? What if you don't have to be a new you? The pressure to become a new you every year is a little unreasonable, I think. I think new year, same me, maybe a little bit different. Maybe I want to focus on something else, but this whole reinvention vibe that goes into people's goal setting and planning for the new year and the marketing around products and services around the new year, which, hey, I'm a life coach, so I also have to market my services. But I, for one, am very tired of new year, new me because no, I'm just getting a little weirder. New year, same me. Maybe a bit more off-putting to people who I don't need in my life. I'm weird. We should be weird. Okay. So what's wrong with staying the same, right? We have this pressure to improve constantly, to always be growing, to always be reaching for new highs, to always be improving. And as somebody who enjoys self-improvement, I really like self-help books. I really like personal development. I like learning stuff and unpacking stuff in my past and being like, oh, that's why I'm afraid of XYZ thing. And then working through that. I love that. But if I woke up every day and was like, time to improve my life in some discernible way, oh my God, that's burnout. We can't always be improving. Improvements need to be subtle, like steering a ship, 1 degree this way doesn't look like much on the ship, but it looks like a lot at the destination. We can make 1%, 5%, 10% kind of changes that will completely alter our life. So if you get in here and you're like, okay, well, new me, new habits. I get up at 6, I work out first thing in the morning. I drink 6 gallons of water with lemon in it because it's more alkaline, or whatever the hell the big lemon is telling us about lemon water. That's not the sustainable kind of change anyway. There are times where you have a sort of epiphany moment and make a huge change. For me, quitting my job, huge change. But I had got to the point where I knew my job was a place I needed to leave after several incremental changes of getting to know myself better, not improving myself as an objective piece of society, right? Like, ooh, I'm going to make this cog in the machine really shiny and really efficient, but in improving my relationship with myself. Any self-improvement needs to be rooted in improvement of relationship to oneself. That's what self-improvement really is, because otherwise you're just shining and polishing up the way you present to the outside world without doing that work of making sure that this is a reflection of your values and this is a reflection of how you want to act and who you want to be and what you want to do in the world. That's what needs to be feeding our goals, not something where you're like, oh, well, it's a new year, so I'm just going to completely overhaul everything I judge about myself. That is only helping the people who are selling that product that you judge about yourself. Like the diet industry, which will be a big topic, is a multi-billion-dollar industry based on explaining to you that you are bad and you should hate yourself. So eat this cracker that tastes like shit because there's no anything in it. And I say this as a person who used to be a gluten-free vegan doing the Whole30. Like, I can do restriction. I can eat a bowl of ice cubes and call it cereal. I never did that, but that's always the joke, right? Here's your gluten-free, GMO-free, vegan, organic, no this, no that, no whatever meal. And it's a plate of ice cubes, right? And even then I'd be like, is this tap? Tap water tastes gross to me because, I've got that filtered water privilege. I have always loved talking about goal setting and like what we get wrong about goals and how I like to set goals with my clients. And the more I unmask, the more I improve relationship with myself, the more I lean into the fact that I have ADHD and I don't always want to stick to the plan. In fact, one of the things that I teach about goal setting is that your goals need to be adjustable and that you should check in regularly with them to make sure that they still make sense. Which means if I check in and I'm like, this goal actually sucks, I don't like this goal that I'm working on, I get to just stop and change to a different goal. To other people, that might look like I don't have enough discipline. But to me, knowing when to stop working toward a goal because it is not, again, reflecting your ideal relationship with yourself, I'd rather quit all day long. So have I set any goals for 2024? Not really. Not yet. I probably will. Oh, I have set some goals. So here are my goals for 2024. I want to do a podcast interview to be on somebody else's podcast once a month. And I want to do a speaking engagement once a quarter. And those are aligned with sort of an intention of building visibility for me and myself and the things that I talk about in practicing that sort of vulnerability of being seen and witnessed in places that I don't control. It's a little scary, and it's something that I have shied away from because I had this goal at the beginning of 2023 as well. It's an ongoing goal. I'm not up and taking a complete 180 from my usual strategy of living and having my business. But I do want to make sure that the intention and all of the opportunities that I put on this calendar of places I'm going to go be visible, those all need to make sense with my vision for myself, my vision for my business. And so there is a sense of planning and clarity that you have to do to get to the point of even knowing, well, what relationship do I want to build with myself? And then pursuing goals or intentions or resolutions along those lines. I care more about how things feel in my life, in my clients' lives, than the checking off of the exact SMART goal, right? Like if the intention or the goal is that my client whose manuscript is ready to start querying agents to get published, like this, we're at a very big, exciting point. If he sets a goal that he wants to send out 15 queries per batch and then wait 4 to 6 weeks to hear back from those queries and then do another 15. Like if he only does 12 in one of those batches, I don't care that he didn't reach his goal of 15. I want to know how he feels about those 12. I would rather he query 12 agents that he feels like are an incredible fit for his book than 15 or 20 or 50 people who he's like, I could see it. Because it's not about the number. It's not about the SMART goal. It's not about the achievement or the checking off the list. It is about, does this thing that you are putting your time and energy toward, does that get you closer in line with the you that you envision 10 years down the road by making 1 or 2 or 3 degree at a time adjustments that will make compound change over the years? This is an exponential growth thing. So we don't have to make huge swings. You only have to change things a teeny tiny bit at a time, because those will build and snowball and be cumulative and lead you where you want to go. So some questions to ask yourself if you are staring down the new year and you're like, okay, new year, new me. I am here, Auntie Caitlin, to say no new year, new me. What do you actually want to stay the same? What do you want to do new year, same me? Find something about 2023 that was really awesome, and then just keep that the exact same. Your goal is to stay the exact same this year. Let's lower our expectations a little bit, because we put expectations on the year, right? Like, oh, 2023 was such a bad year. 2024, it's going to be such a good year. It's time. It's just a linear measurement of time. And any year in review is just going to be a one-time little eyedropper of a moment that is the accumulation of your entire life. And then beyond that, if you believe in multiple lives, this life, this current conscious awareness of life that you have right now is just the eyedropper of all of the unconscious awareness of your past and future lives. So depending on if you're like, one lifetime, that's it, I don't need to get into all the reincarnation stuff, cool. Or if you believe that this is another pass of the wheel, another turn, and you've done this before and you've been here before, and this time you want to get it 1% righter, 1% more right, if you want to say that with proper English. Like, imagine what 1% does when you actually started this 10,000 years ago, you know? Like, we can lower our expectations. Just because everything is on social media, and just because everything is a game show and everything is televised and everybody is posting about their goals, and we have 8 billion people on the planet, all of whom are like, oh, here's my goal this year, aside from the ones who are fucking fighting for their lives right now. And we're like, oh, I'm going to read 52 books this year. I don't care if you read 52 books this year. I care that you enjoy your reading hobby. So let's lower the standards a little bit. Let's keep something the same. Let's even reduce for a goal instead of bigger and better and work harder and do more. Maybe we do less. Maybe we find peace. Maybe we quiet down the voices in our heads that say you're not doing enough, and so it's a new year. It's January 1st on the calendar, and therefore you suck. Do better. Arbitrary. Completely arbitrary. You can change your life any day of the week, any day of the year. Just because it's January doesn't mean shit. If you want to make a New Year's resolution that starts on the spring equinox, I love that for you. Because the winter is not it. It's hard to set big, punchy, magical goals in the winter because all I want to do is eat soup and take a nap. So, team soup and naps. So that's question number 1. What do you want to keep the same this year? Question number 2 is, what do you want less of this year? So instead of the idea of more, what am I going to improve? How about we do more with less, or even we do less with less? What can you take off your plate this year? What can you release yourself from this year? I am doing a January program called Stay Fat in 2024. I'm so tired of everybody being like, oh, this is the year I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds, blah, blah, blah. That was me for 30 years of my life. I only stopped setting weight loss resolutions and goals in 2019. I'm only 5 years out of that life. Life is better when you let that go, because I could barely do anything beyond simply lose weight. Like, lose weight was my job. And I had a full-time job, and I was caretaking a grown-ass man who I was married to I had 3 full-time jobs. The one that actually paid me, the one where I was single-handedly running a household for no reason. There was no reason that that could not have been an equitable household. But, you know, we were in the 50s, I guess, with me being all housewifey with a corporate job. And the full-time job of waking up in the morning and having to commit every spare iota of attention and awareness that I had to what I was wearing, what I looked like, what I was eating, how much I was moving. There was a time I went into the bathroom I was eating lunch at a restaurant with my mom and sister on like a long road trip that we were tired of being on. And my mom was like, "What took you so long in the bathroom?" And I was like, "Oh, I was doing jumping jacks." Like I thought that if I was sitting for more than like 2 hours at a time, I was just headed for an early grave. And it's like, I needed to chill the fuck out. So is there anything that you would like to do less of this year? Is there any area in your life where you need to chill the fuck out? Because you have my permission to chill the fuck out. And finally, what do you want to intentionally bring more of into your life this year? And by intentionally, I mean, this isn't like, I'm going to work out more because it is morally superior, or I'm going to eat more vegetables because it is morally superior, or I'm going to do more art because it's morally superior. No, that's not why we make choices. Not in this family, not over here, not in the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast. So, welcome, climb aboard. We do things because we want to do them. So, what do you want very intentionally to do more of? Me, I want more journaling. I want to start every day with 3 pages of morning pages in my journal. Now, it's going to sound New Year's resolution-y, and I don't really give a shit because it's going to work every single day. I'm going to do 365 days of morning pages. And if I miss a day in there, I'll deal with that when it happens. And it won't mean anything about me as a person because I'm cultivating that practice for me and my relationship with me. I want to plan more dates with my partner where we don't just sort of say like, oh, you know, we haven't gone out in a while, so I guess let's go out to dinner. Like I want to plan cute little dates and excursions because I want to deepen my relationship with him. Everything should be based on love and compassion and relationship and community. Because when it's not, it's usually capitalism and hustle culture informing why you are making the choices that you are making. So let's make some choices actually for you and make sure that these are things that you intentionally want to bring more of into your life. And you're not just doing it because it's a popular resolution or it's the thing that people work on, or you're almost 30 and you have a 5-year plan for before you turn 30. Let me tell you, anybody who thinks that life starts the decline at 30, no way. Life gets so much better in your 30s. So if I have youngsters listening to me, that's my clever way of saying, please don't bully me about my eventual returning side part. All of this to say is that you don't have to be a new you just because it's a new year. So let's do a little stay the same. And if you are fat and plan to stay fat in 2024, I have a place for you. It's only $25. You come on in. $5 of that goes to Lifting Hands International to support Gazan refugees, and they still need it because this is still happening. So let's get some money going over there. And within this January program, there will be many opportunities to just get sort of general support on like, hey, January is really hard. Every single ad that I see is about weight loss stuff. And there will be a community there that just has your back. We're also going to do coaching calls so you can be like, why do I still feel like I need to go on a diet just because it's January? And we can literally work on that and go find the place in your brain where you want to make a change, and we will make new habits and stop the overwhelming fear and rolling boulder of diet culture, because we're awesome and we're going to stay fat. We're keeping our energy because we have better shit to do than try and get skinny just so people like us more. Okay. Love you guys. See you in the next episode.